And so the thing at that point was we had to figure out, okay, so um, it was like a balance between walking in faith and using wisdom.
Yes.
And I think that was the thing, because I think that the pressure that we had for wanting to go home was that, oh, we're going to lose this testimony of supernatural childbirth. And we had to think, well, what's more important? I mean, is it more important that the baby is here and that he's healthy, and or that we could tell everybody we didn't use no drugs? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we had to determine, and there was a shift in our thinking, because we were trying to hold on to the faith for supernatural childbirth. And so that was like, to us, going back home was standing in faith.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Wait on the Lord.
Against what the doctors say or whatever.
You're just gonna wait on the Lord.
But then we realized that wasn't that was foolish. Actually, we realized, okay,
what do we have to prove?
Exactly. That was the big turning point. Was that what do we have to prove? And we realized that that was pride that wanted it to happen a certain way. And so here the doctor told us what the risks were. Though they were, though that they weren't any confirmed risks or anything, we had to change our thinking, to say, you know what, it's wisdom to go ahead with this, like there's no shame in it, so what, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So after that, we go over there, and I had time. By the time we got to labor and delivery, I would say it was around 2-ish. Around 2 o'clock. So I had some time. I was hungry. I hadn't eaten since breakfast, like at 10 something that morning. So I said, can Rodney get me some lunch? And they said, yeah, you've got time. So we'll wait on him to come back and we'll let you eat. And then we'll get you checked in and settled, start your IV. And then, we'll go from there. Can you get him a blanket? I'm sorry, I meant to get that just to throw over him. I'll show him again for those of you guys who just popped on, but you may hear him in the background. Baby Rodney over there making noises and looking ridiculously adorable. So yeah, long story short, we weren't prepared to go into labor that day. We did have our bags in the car, but because, we didn't think we would be going from a checkup straight to the delivery room, there were some key items that were still at home. So Rodney I told him to go get me some food, come back, and then go home and get whatever he wanted to get and come back, because I wasn't feeling contractions or anything. I was fine. But he went all the way home. And home, you guys know, we live in Homewood now. And the hospital where we were at was, we were at Hinsdale Hospital. So he completely forgot to bring me my food. He brung it after he did everything else. So he was gone for a long time. They did bring me some little sandwiches and little snacks just to kind of keep my energy up. And he did come later, came through with some Chipotle. So I was like, yes. Food was very important to me, because you guys know when you get to a certain stage in labor, you can't eat and it sucks. So, but even the delay helped, because I needed that time to just kind of refocus mentally and just get over it and be like, okay, this is happening now. It's not happening the way I wanted it to happen, but it's happening. And who's to say that God still can't do supernatural childbirth with this situation? And so that was the other thing we had to fight, was the devil just being like, see, the plan is going wrong, and, get us out of faith. And so when Rodney came back, we had to just really focus. I know you had something else that you wanted to say.
Well, it was just,
about that.
Yeah, guilt. See, and that's the thing. See, we had to come to a place where, we realized, first off, it's early. Mm-hmm. Something supernatural can still happen. This still doesn't have to be this horrible experience, you know.
Exactly.
Just because we're getting induced, God can still work in that, and so that's where we began to stir our faith back up, and just keep going with it. Otherwise we would have been looking at that as defeat. Like, oh man, we would have been looking at it as defeat. Like, well, we got induced, so, I guess there's no supernatural in that. You know what I mean? And also, like you were saying with the guilt, we realized that there's no shame in it. And we realized, okay, something, to deny this medical intervention that is going to ensure, that the baby comes here safely, we would be doing that out of shame. You know what I'm saying? We would have been doing it out of shame because we would have felt, shameful about whatever it may be. And so that's the thing. There's nothing to prove, like when there's faith. And that was really the big turning point was we realized we don't have anything to prove here. We don't have anything to prove. The most important thing is the healthy delivery of this little guy right here, And so we began to believe God again for supernatural childbirth, even with the induction.
Yes. And so long story short, they started me on the Pitocin around 7 p.m. They got me on the IV drop. I will say...
We were just chilling for a long time.
We had time to chill. We turned on some Todd Delaney, set the atmosphere, got our praise music going, started getting relaxed and just kind of preparing, just recalibrating our mind. Pretty much.
Because we had a while to wait. So
we had a while to wait. So we just kind of took that time. Oof, bless you. We took that time. We said scriptures, prayed in the spirit a little bit, just...
Yeah, there were a list of scriptures that we used all throughout the pregnancy that we were confessing, Yes, a needed, needed shift, and so
the book, and I'll show you guys the book for those who just popped on. We're talking about Supernatural Childbirth by Jackie Mize. If you are pregnant, if you know anyone who's pregnant, get them this book. They have awesome confession scriptures in the back for childbirth and all that. So we were definitely saying those and some other ones that we found. Yeah. So go ahead.
But it is. You know, cause it's awesome. Amazing. And so, we went back to the scriptures that we had already been saying throughout pregnancy. And that's when we had to say, okay, you know what?
No.
Let's go back.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great book. Let's go back on what we know. And so we went back on those same scriptures, remember? Because we had a set of scriptures we would do every night. We would place our hands over her stomach and we would say those scriptures. And so we were already building up our faith on it. And we're like, let's keep going. So that was good. And so during that waiting period, while we were waiting for the contractions to come and everything, we were doing that. We were chilling till like 11.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah, it was. we took a nap and everything.
Yeah, I told him, I said, well, we don't know how long this is going to take. I said, Rodney, we better go to sleep while we can. So he, let out his little bed. The couch lets out into a bed, and I just kind of dozed off, and my contractions I don't want to say they didn't start till 11 because...
She didn't feel them.
I didn't feel them. Like, the nurse came in and she was like, well, you're having contractions right now. How are you feeling? I was like, I don't feel them. She was like, you don't feel those? And she was like, yeah. Oh my God, the very little bed. Oh my God, it was the worst. The two most difficult parts of the entire delivery experience were that crappy bed. For me, because the bed I was on was like hard as rocks. It was like the equivalent of being in labor for hours on a cot. It was terrible. And I got way too much cushion to be on a surface that thin for that many hours. So I was miserable. But the bed and getting the IV, because I hate needles. So yeah, those are the two most difficult parts. But yeah, we were just kind of sleeping, chilling. She said, I see your contractions on the screen. And we told her, I'm fine. I'm not feeling anything. So they didn't start.
And that alone was supernatural.
That was supernatural for 4 hours to be having contractions and not feel anything. Until around 11 o'clock. I was jolted out of my nap by a very rude contraction. And it was rude. I was like, woo!
Right.
Yes. I set up, I was like, I guess that was a contraction, huh? I don't like those. Yeah, we pray.
So that there the battle began.
There the battle began. And even with that, the nurse came in because she saw my blood pressure like spike up because it freaked me out. But I was like, it was rude. Very rude. So yeah, after that initial panic, I was just like, okay. I just started my breathing. Now they're contractions, okay? So you're gonna feel them, but, and this is speaking for somebody who, I won't say I'm a person who has a high pain tolerance.
Very low pain tolerance.
I'm serious. Like, I don't like needles. Like, y'all, just the drama just to get the needle situation, to get the IV even started was just special. So, I was just really, I'm not that person that's just like, yeah, I could tough it out. But God gave me a supernatural grace to deal with this. The contractions were there, but I didn't feel them for like the first 4 hours. And then when I did, I just started breathing, and just doing breathing exercises. It didn't, and then by the time it got to the point where I was thinking, okay, and I never thought, oh, let's get an epidural. It was never that bad.
She never mentioned it.
But I never mentioned it. But by the time I got to a point where I was like, okay, let's try different things.
Let's back up though.
It was over.
Let's back up because during the process when the pain started, and that was around 11.
Yeah.
You had all kinds of voices that you had to tune out, right?
Oh yeah.
So tell them about that.
I had to tune out just anything I had been told.
It was pain. I mean, it was pain.
Everybody was just like, just get the epidural, girl. Just get it. Don't try to be a hero. There's no shame in getting the epidural, girl. Just when they offer it to you, just take it,
And you know what? There isn't any shame in getting the epidural.
It isn't. I'm not going to I'm not going to judge anybody that gets the epidural. The idea is
that we knew where our faith was at the moment, and we knew that we had faith to go on without it, and
right.
So
if you
that
need
was the deal.
Take
you know what I mean?
But I didn't feel I needed it.
Like this isn't really to condemn people for having different types of childbirths. This is just where our faith was at the moment, and so we didn't want to compromise on where our faith was. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So we went with that, and there was also just other things that we had to make sure that we weren't distracted by.
Yeah. So, and we didn't want anybody else there. We didn't want anybody else there. So that was a distraction that we had to avoid.
We actually, because we were texting back and forth, with some of my family and some family members, just to let them know, hey, we're going in, just so they can be praying or whatever. Okay,
honey, catch the replay later. Bye, honey. Thanks for joining.
Some family members were like, okay, bam, we on the way. I'm like, whoa. Just wait up now. First off, we ain't nowhere near done. And two, we just didn't want, and they're like, well, we're not going to go, we're not going to be in a room with you or nothing. And I'm like, well, I get that, but the idea was that we needed nobody else there.
Yeah.
So we could focus.
Distractions.
So it wasn't anything personal, but we needed no distraction. I didn't need to be mindful that we had family members out in the waiting room waiting. You know what I mean?
Right.
We just needed to have no stress, no pressure at all, so that we could totally focus on the task at hand. So we had to tune that out, and that everybody wasn't happy with that, but that was a decision we had to make.
Yes, and if you're ever in that situation, and or where somebody is getting ready to go into labor, don't feel bad if they don't want you there. Don't. Yes.
It's added stress,
There's a level of focus that you need to get through that I can't even articulate into words. And yes, it's team too much. Yeah. It's team too much for that moment. So
now for that part where the pain was there, we had to really set the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Now we did have worship music playing before what we put on during the pregnancy. Our life coaches, Tony Love McPherson, they're amazing. And in our counseling, just early in our pregnancy, one of the things that came to them and the Holy Spirit gave to them was, Rodney, you need to make some music for this baby, and, you need to go in and make some instrumental music for him and play it for him, just get in the spirit and make some music. And so I did that. And we had been playing this music for him throughout the pregnancy. So we put the headphones on Nikki's tummy and played the instrumental music for him. It was just some smooth prophetic worship music.
Yeah.
So we took that track and we looped it while we were in the delivery room. Remember?
Yes, we did.
That was
very helpful.
So that was like the one thing. Like once the pain and everything started, we just looped that. Like we didn't play nothing else.
Yes.
We just looped that one track and it set an atmosphere for him. I mean, he came out to that track.
Yeah.
And so that was key. We kept going back. One of the things I noticed Nikki doing when contractions came and they got really, really hard, she'd breathe. She would start confessing.
Yep.
I mean,
Speaking
it was.
The word.
I mean, I was amazed by it, because I knew the type of pain she was in. She would go back and she would close her eyes and say, sometimes just Jesus, you know what I mean? And she would redirect her attention out of her mouth. She would actually say something to redirect her attention back on Jesus in the middle of pain. And I thought it was amazing. Like she did it. I would try to remind her of those things as well. So we were kind of going back and forth, like, yeah, remember, Christ has redeemed us from the curse.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Christ, we were visualizing Jesus on the cross, like, you know what I mean? Taking, childbirth pains on him while he was on the cross. Like we were having these visualization exercises and stuff during the pain.